Hello, beautiful souls. Thank you so much for coming to the Pet Lover Summit once again today. My name is Iena, SpiritWalker, and we have an amazing guest today, and her name is Stormy May. Stormy May's early career included horse training, competition, and work as a chief horse management judge and national examiner with the United States Pony Club. In 2006, she followed her dream to more deeply study a horse-human bond, which resulted in highly acclaimed documentary, The Path of the Horse. Now, Stormy coaches people seeking how to learn and grow from their relationships with horses and all life. She is a lifelong student of horses, humans, and our relationship with the natural world. And Stormy is going to be talking today about what horses can teach us about being human. Welcome, Stormy. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for putting this together. What a great way to get information out to people cross species.
Yes. Isn't that what it's all about? And yeah, I'm super excited to hear. I love that you started as a trainer and a judge, and now you're working to help sort of bridge the gap of communication, which is just absolutely amazing. So what can horses teach us about being human?
Boy, they have a whole different way of approaching life than we do. And we've gotten so brainwashed that we know what's best for the horse, and we have something to teach the horse. And unless the horse is trained, they're not worth anything.
Oh,
and it's just so, I mean, I understand that. I've been there. I was guilty of that for decades.
Right.
But then I started really listening to the horses, and they're not saying, come jump on my back, let's go for a ride. They're usually saying, let me go be a horse.
Right.
Meaning, let me go out in the field with the friends and do the things that I want to do during the day. And when we can humble ourselves enough to listen to that and really deeply be a guardian and a caretaker of that horse, you're going to really want what is best for that animal.
Right.
And unfortunately, most of the stuff that we've been conditioned to do with horses is not in their best interest.
Yeah. What are some examples that you can give us?
Riding. I hate to start out with a big one, but horses are not designed to be ridden. You know, the fact that some of them can carry us for however many years is kind of a miracle of nature, that they can, you know, undergo the compromised circulation and the damage caused to the structures at the back and still keep going on. But I think that says more about their own, the way they find peace, which I think another thing we can learn from them is how to find peace, even in a situation that would be intolerable. Because once the horse has that bridle on, they don't have a choice. Once they have a halter on, they don't have a choice. The choice is do what the human wants, or you're going to be hurt by a pull on the bridle, a pull on the halter, a kick on the behind the girth. Right. And we just have to start with being honest about what that is. And do we really need to do it? Right. And that's the conversation I had to have with horses. Do I really need to do this with you? Do I really believe that the only way you're going to have a good life is if you're a trained kids pony or competition dressage horse? So that was kind of the beginning of my journey or my awakening back in 2006 when I made the Path of the Horse documentary. I was going around to people around the world who really were doing miraculous things with horses, and I was especially drawn towards anything that was, you know, no saddle, no bridle, looking like it was the horse's free will. Right. And a lot of it was positive reinforcement, clicker training, you know, which is better than the alternative. For sure. Still saying that I know what's best for you, and I need to teach you how to move correctly. I need to teach you how to be in this world. But really, I mean, if we step back, that they've been around so much longer than us. They can survive in the wild without damaging the ecosystem so much better
True.
than us. And I don't know if it just worked out this way, but they have the things like peace and presence and deep connection to nature, which is what we've really lost.
Yes. Yes.
In another way, just humbling ourselves to think, well, maybe they could be our teachers right now.
Yes.
And help us come back into this harmony with nature that we've lost.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we're not designed to be in an apartment building and
No,
eat out of boxes.
no, no. And be, our attention just being grabbed here, grabbed there. It's not,
Electronics.
it's not
Mhm.
healthy for our systems.
Right.
And
Right.
just spending time with a horse in a pasture with no agenda. I mean, just that
Mhm.
whole part of no agenda. Can we
Mhm.
spend time like that, having that be enough, having that be okay? And that
Right.
gives us a doorway into what it really means to be human, I think. Beyond the conquer and domesticate mindset,
Mm-hmm.
how can we recognize our true nature, which is we are nature, we are part of nature.
Right. Right. I love that. That's so beautiful. So horses have to teach us peace, presence, and our connection with nature, which is absolutely so true. We're all, like I said, in apartment buildings, watching screens. As you said, our attention is just all over the place. Where do we begin? How can we start implementing the lessons that the horses are teaching us?
That's a good question. Obviously, horse owners have a lot more options because then they can decide what is best for their horse. I just had a student who had this dream, her horse had always been in boarding stables, and she had this dream to have him be free in a herd one day. And she just
Oh,
posted this morning of him running free in a herd.
oh my
So
gosh, that's so
you just have
cool.
to make the choice. Like, is it really better that he's locked in the stall with the best of care or out in the pasture? And I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know for an individual horse. You have to know that horse and
Hmm.
try it out and see.
Right.
But
Right.
then, as the owner, as the guardian, your heart just bursts open. You just know that horse is having the time of his life. And
Yes.
honestly, even if he were to get into an accident and die a week later, I would still feel good that he had those moments to be what a horse is created to be.
Hmm.
Uh, I mean,
Emphasizing quality of life is what you're saying
exactly.
versus
Let's
quantity.
exactly. There's this myth
Yes.
that after the horse is trained, then he will have earned the best care and a retirement. But
Hmm.
so few horses can really hold up to the mental and physical stress that our
Yes.
regular uses of them bring. That's
Hmm.
why the top riders don't have one horse. They have to go through horse after horse after horse
Hmm.
to find the one that can really hold it together. And
Hmm.
even then, for how long, we don't know.
Hmm. Yeah. So it's probably, I'm just guessing, and of course, please correct me if I'm wrong, but it's sounds like it's very similar to like athletic training for human beings. It's very
Yeah.
mentally, physically, and emotionally challenging and draining when we're training them to ride them, and obey these commands. Is that sort of along the lines of what
Yeah.
you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah. It's again, it's not in their best interest. It's, sure, if their choice is just stand in a stall or go out on a ride, maybe a ride would be better. But
Right.
that's not it's not fair to say you can
Hmm.
do one of these two things that are horrible for you.
Hmm. Hmm.
And we
Okay.
really need to start by being honest with ourselves. Like, what is a horse? And unlike a lot of domesticated dogs, they really can do fine, quote unquote, in the wild. I'm not
Hmm.
saying take your competition horse and turn him out on thousands of acres. It has to be a conversation that you're having with that individual,
Hmm.
and giving more turnout time, giving some turnout time with other horses. And for me, whenever I have my own horses, I always want to be moving to the next bigger place that they can have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, you mean like space wise for them to roam
Space-wise.
and
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Because they can really destroy an environment if there's not enough room. You know,
Right.
look at the wild horse lots where they put the wild horses that they round up. It's just
Mm-hmm.
dust. It's just dust and squares and corners and
Right. Right.
yeah.
Okay. That's awesome. Okay. So what size do you have right now? I'm assuming you have horses.
Oh, I wish I had a lot more. Yeah, at the moment, well, the last place I was on was 38 acres and that was awesome. But unfortunately the owner died and we had to find what we could support. So we have two horses on 4 acres, which
Mm-hmm.
minimal, I would say minimal.
Right.
But
Yeah.
what we're aiming for is enough of a size that the horse can exercise themselves and, you know, have that mental well-being while
Right.
not, you know, destroying waterways or you know,
Sure.
decimating a landscape because there's nothing else to eat.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you're looking at 5-10 acres per horse, really, ideally,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
have a
That
good
sounds
balance.
amazing. I'd
Yeah,
like that kind of space myself. That'd be awesome.
exactly. What's good for the
Give me
horses is
10
good for
acres.
us.
I love that. Okay, so let's say and I'm sure these are conversations you have all the time. Let's say there's a lot of horse caretakers watching, which I suspect there will be, watching the summit today. And they're kind of like feeling what you're saying, like, okay, wow, I never thought about it like that. It's like, how do they start having this conversation with the horse? How do they start discovering what truly is best for each individual horse? What does that process look
Mm.
like?
That's where I love working with people, because
Mhm.
that's how people find me. They're like, you know, this person, they said they were so gentle, but then I sent my horse to them and my horse is now traumatized.
Oh,
And
you
really,
mean trainer wise?
yeah,
Mm.
exactly. They come back and think the horse is going to be more trained, but now the horse doesn't even want to be caught. It,
Right. Okay.
yeah, it's not,
Mm.
it's not, it's not
Awful.
healthy.
Yeah.
Um, and the key is you have to be able to understand your horse in a direct two-way conversation. And that
Hmm.
starts through, you know, that's where I start working with people. And we first have to really understand what presence is, because in presence, we are letting go of the agenda. We are letting go of what somebody else told us was best for the horse, and
Right.
really tuning into the horse directly
Mm.
and letting the horse know that we're listening, which means if the horse says no to something, can we be okay with that?
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
And then they start to realize, oh, they're listening to me. Okay, well,
Hmm.
now I'm going to speak a little more. And this was
Hmm.
the incredibly magical thing that happened to me back in
Please
2006.
share.
Was I met somebody's horses who were treated in this very respectful, empowered way, where if they said no, that's okay. It's a no. No is a no.
Hmm.
It's not like I'm going to try and make it into a yes. And these horses were just no words. You know, they were so fully themselves that I
Hmm.
realized I didn't really know what horses were, you know,
Hmm.
because I had been working with trained horses and training horses.
Hmm.
But this is kind of like untraining them, letting them be themselves, letting them have a voice. And
Right.
that's where they just get more and more magnificent. It's,
Hmm. Hmm.
in ways that you might not imagine. Like, for example, there's a big thing about you have to pick up your horse's feet. You know, you have to have them trimmed and pick them out and all that.
Sure.
And
Yes.
but what if the horse says no? And what horse is going to say yes? You know, what horse wants their foot picked
Hmm.
up? But
Hmm.
you can work it out. You can have a conversation with them that doesn't involve forcing them to hold their hoof up. You know, you could ask, maybe they give it to you for a second and then they take it back, and that's okay. Oh,
Hmm.
you know, they start to trust you. Like, if
Hmm.
I'm feeling off balance or scared, you're going to give me my foot back.
Right. Right.
And then it deepens in that. So that's when I am working with people to get them to understand their horses. It's all done online. I don't need to be there with them. You know, can you get present? Can you hear what the horse is saying? If it's a no, that's okay. A lot of times with these traumatized horses, you just have to hear no, 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 no before the horse starts to relax enough to know that you're not there to hurt or traumatize them anymore. And you can't just tell them that. Well, why doesn't she trust me? Well, probably because you're yanking on the halter. You know, there's probably the horse trusts that you're going to yank on the halter. So we have to get past that. We have to, the other part besides presence is inquiry. We have to question into our beliefs. You know, I love Byron Katie's work for this. You know, is it true? Is it, are you absolutely sure it's true? Because when we get good at that kind of self-inquiry, usually we just have to ask if a belief is true, and then we realize, oh, who knows? We don't know. And that's, you know, where we humans get stuck is that we know, we think we know what the problems are, and we think we know how to fix them. And that's where horses suffer, because we think we know what's wrong with them, and we have to send them to this trainer. We have to try this other system. We have to do this thing. And if we could let that go, we wouldn't be harming horses. There's no need.
It sounds like we're moving from our head, where we're trying to figure everything out, down into our hearts. That's what it feels like this conversation's about today. Is that something that you would agree with?
Yeah. And definitely as a professional trainer, I was numbed. You know, I would whip the horse. I would kick the horse, because I think, well, you know, it's better than being dog food. It's better. It's in your best interest. But then when I had horses that just said, no, it's not, I had to stop. I had to say, okay, maybe you're right. Maybe, and that's when I found the people in the path of the horse, because it seemed like they could do it as gently as possible. Little did I know that you don't even have to do it. You don't even have to do that thing for you to get even more than you thought was possible to get with a horse. But circling back, what about people without horses? You know, I think a big thing is just getting this conversation going. You know, so many people have an opportunity. Oh, we're going on this vacation to the beach and let's ride the horses. Just don't. You don't need to. They don't need it. You know, hang out by their pasture, enjoy their beauty from wherever you are. There's a lot of equine guided learning opportunities for trauma therapy and for corporate leadership. But even that, you have to watch. You know, are they putting a horse in a halter and pulling them around in an arena? If so, you're not really supporting the horse. You're not really learning from the horse. It's still, you know, how can I be the leader? How can I be the kind leader here? But you're leading them into, again, thinking that you know the solution to their problem. So, you know, equine guided programs have the potential to be fabulous. But for the most part, they're still really not in alignment with learning from the wisdom of the horse.
Okay. All right. Can you walk us through, can you give us an example of maybe a question that someone might have and how they do the self-inquiry that you were referencing with Byron Katie?
Sure. So one of the things I've found, well, okay, so say a person believes that the horse needs to eat, excuse me, 3 times a day, you know, and they have to have this much weight of food. So you just say, is it true? And well, yes, it's true. You know, that's what they do at the top barns. And that's what I learned from my instructor. And then you ask the second question, are you sure are you completely 100% sure that it's true? And there you might, maybe not, maybe you have a question. Either way, it doesn't matter. But then you go to, how does it feel when you believe that thought? You feel like you have to be in control, that you have to, make sure it's at the right time, the right everything. Like it's very righteous to believe that thought.
Sure, sure.
And then you can ask, how has that had a negative impact on the others, the other horses, the other people around you? If you're not open to something else, then you're perpetuating that closed-mindedness that is so prevalent in the world today.
Right, right.
And then the last question would be, who would you be without that thought? Maybe you would be open to which the what I found is that horses do much better when they can have food 24/7. Maybe a lower quality hay, but it's available all the time. And then they have less ulcers, then they have less weight problems, then they have less aggression, less anxiety. All just from inquiring, is it really true that horses need 3 meals a day?
Yeah, and I think I'm just, and again, I'm just guessing, but it seems like it's a little closer to what they would naturally do in their environment as they graze all day.
Totally.
Yeah. So that's sort of the spectrum of where we're going with that. That's amazing. I love that. And I love that it can be utilized in like every aspect of your life as well.
That's what's beautiful about it, is people all of a sudden have better relationships with their spouses, with their children, with their dogs and their cats, just because they really wanted to listen to the horses. And through listening in those nonverbal ways, through presence and through inquiry, we find they've been talking to us the whole time.
Yes, it's just a matter of changing the dial and tuning in. I love that. I'm also thinking about people who have kids and they have like 5 different activities that they go to all the time. It's like, is this really bringing them joy? Is this, or is this just something I feel like they need to do for their own betterment, for their own good?
Right.
Wow.
They see the children as the teachers, and what wisdom do they have that we're ignoring because we think we know what's best?
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. That's amazing. I absolutely love that. We are almost out of time, but I wanted to ask you, do you have any other wisdom you would like to impart with the viewers right now before we close?
Can I talk about the free gift?
Oh yeah, we're going to get to that. Actually, I was going to ask you that next, but yeah. Let's just do that. That can be your wisdom, baby, right there.
That's what I want. I want people to not just turn off after this interview and say, oh, that was interesting.
That was nice. So yes, please tell us what your website is, where people can find you, and your free gift. And those of you who are watching, there will be a link below, and just click on that. And that's absolutely where you'll find everything you need. Please tell us about your free gift.
Thank you. So it's a 10-minute audio, and it's called Coming into Presence. And it is something that's meant to be listened to over and over to give us the practice of coming back into that feeling of presence, that experience of presence. It is something that may seem trivial, may seem like, oh, I already know this, I already do this. And whatever those thoughts are, just listen anyway, because we're trying to get past those thoughts into the experience of, wow, this is an incredible moment right here. And it really can take you there. So my website is just my name, stormymay.com.
Yeah, link below, guys. Go ahead.
And then if you, a big thing that I think the world needs is more sanctuaries for both horses and humans. So if you go to stormymay.com, there's a link about creating sanctuary and a new online community that's coming together over creating a better world for horses and humans through creating inner and outer sanctuary. So I would love people to join me there. That one's called Many Paths to the Heart, but you can get there through stormymay.com.
Beautiful. I love that inner and outer sanctuary. That's gorgeous.
You have to have the inner.
Yes.
You have to have the inner, otherwise you're not going to really have the outer.
Yes. Okay. So you guys know where to find her. The link is down below. Stormy May, thank you so much for all the beautiful wisdom that you've brought to us through the horses. We truly appreciate you. And thank you for being part of the Pet Lover Summit.
My pleasure. Thank you.